Hi, I'm Dave. I'm in Reno, Nevada, and thank you, Father Noel, for allowing me to share my story. I reached a point in my life at 54 years old where everything I had tried to do failed. I was at a point where I was hopeless and I really didn't know where to turn. I didn't think there was anything left except that I just needed to end my life and I wanted it to be over. I got an opportunity to hear about getting a higher power through a 12-step program. And it's something that I had never really considered before. I had been around religions and stuff, but I never wanted it. I never wanted to follow those books or follow those groups. I just didn't want to be involved. And I really thought that most everything that I saw there was it just wasn't something I could relate to. And in the 12 step program, what they showed me was all I had to do was be willing that there be a higher power and it would start to happen. They suggested sticking my foot in the door. And so I tried doing that. I actually prayed to this higher power that I didn't believe in, that I really didn't want to believe in, for the willingness to believe. And amazingly enough, it started happening. And it's been this progress of building on that, going through steps. And that's what the 12-step program is all about, is getting in contact with my with that higher power, that spirituality. And today I like to call myself devoutly spiritual. I pray every morning, I pray every night, and I pray all through the middle. Whenever something is going right, whenever something's going wrong, I talk to my higher power about it. And I love in the morning that I can pray some prayers asking for guidance and just peace in my life and some serenity. And I get it. And, I don't really know what goes on. I'm pretty sure, though, there's not some dude up in the clouds granting wishes with a big beard. And I really think that a lot of times what my prayers do is it's me giving myself permission to have. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, and it really doesn't matter, because if I pray, I get these things, and that's what really matters. Today, it's a huge part of my life where it wasn't before, and I never expected this to happen. And I hope that I will just continue doing these things because I like it a lot. I like it a whole lot. I like the serenity and peace and just the feeling of belonging that I have today that I've never had before in my life.
You know, you've been saying many things about the 12-step program, but people go to those things and they hear all the stories. What was the nudge that pushed you over to sort of start looking at the possibility of spiritual connection?
So it took a really long time to get there. I came into the program at 21, and at 54, I was finally so desperate I had to do something different. And what I did was I went to court. The judge sent me back to the program, so I had to be there to get my paper signed. And I wasn't really looking for anything beyond that. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I could get. I had no concept of a future at that point. But I showed up one morning. I was early for a meeting and I wanted to look like I fit in. So I went up to the front desk at the club I was at and I bought a book. And I took this book and I put it on the table in front of me because that was going to make it look like I was belonging there. And then some people came in the room. So I flipped the book open, not to the first page. I actually flipped it open a little ways, not too far, but not on the first page because I didn't want to look like I had just started. This is actually part of my tendencies to just lie about everything. I
Mm-hmm.
was still lying at this point. And then more people came in, and to keep the lie going and make it believable, I started reading. And what I saw in that reading was this book had been written about me literally before I was born. And I went back to the front cover and I looked at what year it was. It was written in 1935. So this book was written before my mother was born. And it was about me. And I figured if it was about me, then maybe these people really knew what they were talking about. And that like I was gobsmacked. It was amazing. That was where I got my first, I call that my first real spiritual experience. It was like the wool was taken off of my eyes. I suddenly had an ability to see that maybe there was a future. So I went ahead and started actually really trying this thing. But it's funny that it happened when it was a lie. So people say just keep coming back or just read the damn thing or fake it till you make it. All of that worked for me, every last bit of it.
So how long were you in AA attending AA meetings or 12-step meetings before you started looking seriously at steps 2 and 3?
It's kind of a little more complicated than that. I was still probably in my first couple of weeks when I did that with my big book. And I had already had a sponsor at that point, and I was way too frantic for him. Like, I was like, take me through the steps. I needed relief right now. And I thought that the steps were going to save me. And so he suggested that instead of bothering him anymore, I go up to this other meeting. It's called Back to the 40s. It's when they take you through the steps in a very short period of time. Like it's like 4 steps of meeting for 4 weeks or something like that. I don't remember anymore. But so I went through that and I went through all the steps and I didn't really feel like I had done much of anything. And so I got done there and I went out and I found myself another sponsor because now I really, really wanted to do the steps. That's my same sponsor today, 5 years later.
Mhm.
But that first time through the steps, I had had a lifetime of being a dishonest, selfish, self-seeking prick. I had no idea how to be honest. I didn't know how to be willing. And I tried. I tried really hard. I prayed for it over and over again, and it didn't come right away. That was something that came with time. But that first time through the steps with him, I saw some benefits, and so I just kept doing it. And
Mhm.
I don't even know how many times I've gone through the steps. So I've gone through with groups, with individuals. I sponsor people. I have 3 sponsors. I have a big book sponsor, a spiritual sponsor, and a service sponsor. And I sponsor a lot of people, male, female, black, white, yellow, pink. I don't care. If somebody needs the steps, I am willing to talk to them about them. If they want to go through the steps with me, I'm willing to do whatever they need to do. And I've done workshops with groups. I've done so many different ways of doing it. I figure that the more directions I look at it from, the more different perspectives I'll see. And that's what really gives me the opportunity to understand it is that open-mindedness and willingness to just do it again and again and again and keep looking.
I'm wondering, I've heard people talk about spiritual and religious. What does that mean to you?
Spirituality is me knowing that there is something out there that's more powerful than me. Well, maybe not more powerful, but there's something out there outside of me. It used to be I had no spirituality. All I had was what was inside my head, and it rattled around in there like a tin can.
Mhm.
And today I'm willing to believe that there is a power greater than myself. And I also believe I don't have to define it. But the difference between that and religion is they define it. They write down books about it and they really tell you what that power is and they say what it said to them. They say that it talks to them. And I don't necessarily believe any of that's true. But if that works for you, I think you should do that. It doesn't necessarily work for me, but that's okay. It doesn't matter anymore. I used to be really mad at religions because they were trying to shove what I thought was a bunch of hooey down my throat, and I didn't like it. And today I know that some people need that, and I actually go to church almost every week with my sponsor because my sponsor, he has a tendency to isolate and he gets lonely. So I go to church with him so he's not always alone, and we go to breakfast sometimes. And I try to get a better understanding of how that church works because they're not bad people, they're not misdirected, they're just looking at it from a different standpoint than I am. I really believe we're all looking at the same higher power. Some people have decided to write a book about it, and other people are like, hey, I like the way you look at that. Let's do that. And that's perfectly okay. I like that.
That sounds wonderful, Dave.
It is. It's amazingly wonderful. My life has changed in ways I never could have even imagined before.
Okay, I'm going to, I know you, Dave, so I'm going to ask you if you can tell us a couple words about gratitude.
A couple of words about gratitude. Man, my life was an absolute dead end and I was like at the end of the street beating my head on a wall trying to knock myself senseless. And today I no longer have to do that. And for that, I'm grateful. I was trying to kill myself because I saw no way out before. And for that, I'm grateful because the desperation that I got from doing that allowed me to have the open mind that I have today. For that, I am very, very grateful.
Okay,
Um, the gratitude started to leak out of my face now, just the way it works for me.
okay. Thank you so much.
Um, I've I've had a lot of relationships in sobriety, which I've never been able to be close to anybody before. I couldn't get close to people, and I have a ton of gratitude for that. I can have an open mind today. I have so much to be grateful for. This program has given me a life. This higher power has given me a life where I've never had one before.